Welcome to the audiobook on gcloud, Google Cloud's powerful command line tool for interacting with Google Cloud services. In this guide, we'll explore some of the most commonly used gcloud commands along with practical examples. From setting up your environment to managing resources like virtual machines, storage, and networking, gcloud commands can help streamline your workflow. Chapter 1. Setting up your environment. 1. Install the SDK. Ensure you have Google Cloud SDK installed. Curl https://sdk.cloud.google.com/exec.l. gcloud init. Use gcloud init to initialize and configure your project, logging in and setting default parameters. 2. Setting the default project. Use the following command to set a default project for all future gcloud commands. gcloud config set project _ID. Example: gcloud config set project my sample project. Chapter 2. Managing compute resources. 1. Creating a virtual machine. To create a new compute engine instance, cloud compute instances create instance_name, zone equals zone, machine type equals machine_type. Example: gcloud compute instances create my instance. Zone equals us_central1a. Machine type equals n1 standard -1. 2. Listing all instances. To see a list of your compute engine instances, gcloud compute instances list. 3. Starting and stopping instances. Starting an instance. gcloud compute instances start instance_name, zone equals zone. Stopping an instance. gcloud compute instances stop instance_name, zone equals zone. Example: gcloud compute instances stop my instance, zone equals us_central1a. Chapter 3. Managing cloud storage. 1. Creating a bucket. To create a new storage bucket, gcloud storage buckets create gs://bucket_name. Example: gcloud storage buckets create gs://my new bucket. 2. Uploading files Dorit. To upload files to your cloud storage bucket, gcloud storage cp local_file_phes://bucket_name. Example: gcloud storage cp myfile.txt gs://my new bucket. 3. Listing bucket contents Dorit. To list objects within a bucket, gcloud storage lsgs://bucket_name. Chapter 4. IAM and permissions. 1. Listing all IAM policies. To view the IAM policy for a project, gcloud projects get IAM policy project_ID. Example: gcloud projects get IAM policy my sample project. 2. Adding a role to a user. To grant a user a role, gcloud projects add IAM policy binding project_ID. Member equals user, user_email. Role equals role_name. Example: gcloud projects add IAM policy binding my sample project blank. Member equals user. Example: at example.com blank. Role equals role/viewer. Chapter 5. Managing Kubernetes clusters. 1. Creating a GKE cluster. To create a Google Kubernetes engine, GKE cluster, gcloud container clusters create cluster_name, num nodes equals node_count. Example: gcloud container clusters create my cluster, num node equals us_central1, a gcluster's core nodes equals 3. 2. Connecting to a GKE cluster. To set up kubectl access to a GKE cluster, cloud container clusters get credentials cluster_name, zone equals zone. 3. Scaling a cluster. To adjust the node count of a GKE cluster, cloud container clusters resize cluster_name, dentet. Node pool equals default pool s. Node nodes equals new_node_count,